Greetings, everybody. We've got about 13 seconds left, and I've got Errol Weiner, our Turning Point resident astrologer, waiting in the wings for us as well. So as soon as all the people filter through, I'll be getting going. And let's see, sitting there. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. And Errol, I want to just formally welcome you as well to the Turning Point. We have these Turning Point events about every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, when we find it's a suitable time to sort of, notch ourselves up to the next level and really bring in all the current information gleaned across the various disciplines, being astrology. There's Diptiben, Naran, who's just joined us. Honored to have you with us too, Dipti. And also I bring in more sort of the grounded life force type things. But all along, it's our journey. It's an individual journey. It's a collective journey. And we're restoring, resetting, rejuvenating, restoring, resetting, rejuvenating as we spiral to higher and higher and higher levels of vibration and consciousness, really, at the end of the day. And, I joke with people. I think I feed off consciousness. And what I really mean by that is as the people who are coming in to see us at the center, as they repair, restore, reset, rejuvenate, and get themselves to higher consciousness levels, so I find I'm also reaching ever higher consciousness levels. And so it really is a journey spiraling upwards. And I just really feel that all of you are just such a family with us. We've been together, for well over a year now, year and a half almost. And we really worked together. It's been fantastic having all of you and all your questions. And so we're all set for this evening. And what I want to say is we're going to also allow extra time for questions and answers. But don't wait for them. As the questions come up, please put them in the chat. Errol's going to be on for about 10 minutes. So if you want to ask him things, please put them in the chat so he can address them before he leaves. And without further ado, Errol always brings in an unbelievable aspect to the Turning Point. With his wisdom, he was the main head astrologer at Findhorn. And if those of you who are unsure of where Findhorn is, go and Google it, right at the top of Scotland. And they made this most beautiful Findhorn farm. The area was really, really desolate, hey, Errol? And they rejuvenated it out of nothing almost. Am I right, Errol?
Yeah. It was just a very caravan park,
Caravan park.
It's a very dirty sort of kind of caravan park in northern Scotland, and eventually it became, of course, probably the world's foremost spiritual and ecological community, with about 1,000 people altogether living in and around the community.
Yeah. So he's got a wealth of information to share, and we have a lovely week here, and Errol will fill in the gaps. But I mean, we had the solstice on Monday, and we have the full moon today, the 24th of June. So Errol, over to you. I'm going to let you belt it out, and we can't wait to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, but just let me know when you want me to complete, just so you know.
All right.
Great, thank you. Then I know.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, then. All right, great. So, hi everyone, and this is the Cancer full moon cycle. In fact, it's not the so-called Capricorn full moon cycle, but the Cancer full moon cycle, because the sun is in Cancer and the moon is in the opposite sign, Capricorn. But it's the sun that brings through the energy into our solar system and planet, not obviously the moon, which is but a satellite of the Earth. So this is the fourth full sun-moon cycle of the year, because you have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and then Cancer, the first four signs of the zodiac. And it's in the Cancer full sun moon, which is now, which unfolds for the next 7 days. Energy actually comes down into the physical form of the planet and into the physical form of nations and into the physical form of humans everywhere. So you get energy first comes into the mind, which is Aries, then into the emotions, which is Taurus, then into the etheric body, which is the sort of invisible foundation body of the physical body in Gemini, and then finally it comes down into the physical body in Cancer. And this is, of course, what happens every year via the astrological year and the 12 astrological months. So people should be aware that of the impact of this energy now coming into the physical world, whereby we can actually see things and feel things much more directly, because it's not so much abstract anymore. It's now physical into the body. And the one area which Cancer rules most strongly is what we call the home and the family. Though the energy also enters very strongly into everyone's home environment and family environment. And this is a great time always in the Cancer cycle for people to either to transform their homes. In other words, to cleanse their homes, to reform their homes, to beautify their homes, to fix up their homes. And often people even move home during the Cancer cycle, which is in fact the best time if you want to move home during the Cancer cycle, because Cancer energy governs the home and the family. So be aware of that, because with COVID, of course, and lockdowns, and now, of course, in South Africa, we have our the next major lockdown, the same as in Britain and all over the place. Everyone is basically staying in their home, or forced to stay in their home. So it's the perfect opportunity for people to actually fix up their home and make it look more beautiful and more refined and more hospitable. Of course, hospitality is a very important part of Cancer. And to make the home a sort of temple, because every person's home should be their temple. And literally, it should be their temple. So it should be both a spiritual home and a material home, a physical home. And this is the perfect time now to think deeply about that and to see what changes need to be brought into the home and into the family too. So the other side of the home family situation with Cancer is that every single sign of the zodiac has a soul and a form. So I just talked about the form of Cancer, not the soul. So the home is usually what we call the place where we get our stability and security. So if we have a good home and it's anchored and it's beautiful and it's comfortable and it's hospitable and so on, we feel much more stable and much more secure because the home sort of grounds our energy. Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac, which governs what's called the foundation point, or the earthing foundation point of the zodiac. So there's the security and stability. And so that is important, plus doing all the small things. So when people live in a house, normally we're associated with the feminine principle, but of course, although it is a feminine principle, Cancer is a feminine sign, it's also a feminine masculine in the sense that everything we do in the home, which largely are small things in a sense, like making a bed, hoovering the floor, washing the clothes, ironing the clothes, washing the dishes, making beautiful food, etc., are all what are called feminine small things because they occur in the home environment. But they are absolutely essential in any case. But with COVID and with lockdowns, they even become more essential. And in terms of doing them with conscious awareness as something that is important, not just superficial. When we looked at Frim Dawn, one of the main lessons we learned at Frim Dawn, which is part of the initiation process, was that the way we do the small things is going to determine the way we do the big things. And
they're very interesting.
If you don't do the small things properly, then you can't do the big things. It's against the law. In fact, one of the reasons why we have such a massive catastrophe in the way the big things are done in our world, politically, economically, and such like, is because men are not taking responsibility to do the small things. Generally tending to leave it to the woman, which is not the way it should be, because there has to be some sort of equality in the home environment. So that's very important. The other side of the equation, which is what's called the soul of Cancer. The soul keynote of Cancer is, I build myself a lighted house and therein dwell. So basically what it's saying is that it's the creation of an inner home that is composed of consciousness, not of form, which enables us to realize that wherever we are at home. So, that saying, the home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
Basically what it's saying is that if our home is within us, if we've created an inner home, an inner lighted house in terms of our consciousness, then wherever we are at home. We never feel that we're not at home because the home is inside us, not simply externalized in terms of a physical form.
And I suppose when you're saying, cleanse your home, you're referring also to your inner home and the soul and the spirit, and not just physical, your body.
Yeah, exactly.
You're referring to the cleaning us, the whole thing, and then we raise our consciousness, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So and those two things have to go together, the inner side and the external side. And of course, in our modern day society, the external side is almost everything, and the internal side is nothing. I met an African man and had an interesting conversation when we were out shopping today, and he turned out he's quite a spiritual man, and we started having this conversation. And basically, what I said to him, which I've often said to people, is that every single human lives by two things. By the life force or the prana or the chi that comes from the sun, and by oxygen, which comes from nature. And this we refer to Father God and Mother Goddess, the sun and nature. Without the life force and oxygen, of course, no human being can live, because that's what gives us our life force and our oxygen. So I said to him, how many people do you think around the earth, throughout their life, ever say, thank you to the sun and thank you to nature? And he looked at me with this kind of shock on his face, because he suddenly realized, he said, I would guess hardly anyone, in terms of, 7.8 billion people, ever thank the sun or thank nature for giving us life force and oxygen. And in that you see almost like the fundamental ignorance and arrogance of humans, who somehow think that they live by their own accord, if they are giving themselves life. They're not. The sun and nature are giving themselves life, are giving, in fact, the whole earth life. So, in that sort of sense, you see the larger picture of what the home and family is, in the sense that if people associated with the earth as their home and with humanity as their family, which is in fact factual, it's not just ideological, then, of course, we wouldn't have separate races and separate religions and separate sort of nationalities and war and conflict, because everyone would see that the earth and humanity are our home and our family. So that's the big issue of Cancer. It's like expanding one's consciousness to understand the deeper issues connected to the whole fourth archetype of life, which is home and family.
Yeah.
And one could write an entire book just on what is the home and family, and discussing every facet of the home and the family. Whereas most people would say the home is my home and my family is my blood family, and that's the end of the story. That's just the very, very beginning of the story of home and family.
True.
So this is the kind of thing that people need to contemplate about and ponder about, share and talk about in the Cancer cycle. To come to a deeper understanding of that. And then there's even a bigger connection to that, because as some of you might know, I think you might know, Jane, to other people, UFOs are now being sighted almost daily by United States Air Force pilots.
Okay, just let me say that again, because it was a bit faint. So what Errol's saying is UFOs are being sighted almost daily. Did you say by pilots?
Yeah, by Air Force pilots.
By Air Force pilots. Thank you.
You can go on 60 Minutes, the TV thing, 60 Minutes, the United States version of it, where the interviewer is actually interviewing Air Force pilots who are reporting daily contact with UFOs, not every single 6 months or 1 year, every single time they take their planes up on a daily basis for training the UFOs are contacting. They're not contacting UFOs. UFOs are contacting them, and they're all admitting they don't know what's going on because these UFOs, which I prefer to call ET spacecraft, of course, can appear and disappear. They can materialize and dematerialize. They go so fast that they're literally one moment they're here, the next moment they've gone in space. They can go right into the water, into the sea, with no sound, no effect upon the water. And this is all being viewed by Air Force pilots, and they're all reporting it now. And the actual Pentagon of the United States is now releasing, for the first time, a whole lot of photographs taken by Air Force pilots showing that extraterrestrial spacecraft are now appearing almost daily to people. So basically what this is saying is that it's not just the Earth which is our home, but in fact the entire universe.
Yes, exactly. But Errol, there was also that Israeli pilot about 6 months ago. There was a video clip doing the rounds as well. And he was also saying this. So, pilots are obviously the ones, that are really firsthand seeing all of this. And I think it's very interesting that we do expand ourselves into the infinite, because our home is infinite. And, we're but a spiral in the bigger space of things. And, you raise some really, really interesting things here. And I can tell you, everyone, Errol and I never talked before. He's brought up consciousness, he's brought up life force, he's brought up home, and these are the things I'd already prepared to speak about, and so did Sister Dipti. So, Errol, you've really set the scene for us. Let's in the last minute sort of wrap up what you really wanted to share with us, and then before Errol does go, I just want to say that Errol does the most beautiful natal chart readings, birth chart readings. And especially with the transits and the planetary alignments, is what scientific astrology is all about. So if anybody would like to contact Errol regarding getting their birth chart read, please speak to me afterwards, and we can email Errol, and or just give me your email again, Errol. I'll put it in the group.
Yeah, it's one planet, one humanity, one word @gmail.com.
But is it a one or ONE?
ONE.
One
planet, one humanity, one word, and @gmail.com.
@gmail.com. So Errol will do the readings either in person or also online.
Great.
So I just wanted to say that, because I definitely do follow Errol's patterns, and sometimes I forget and I reread and I think, wow, that was spot on. So that's great. So Errol, give us a summary then. We wanting to also raise our consciousness and move into, the life force space, the home space.
Because what I'm trying to say about the UFOs, which is important, is that, people sometimes refer to extraterrestrials as aliens. And I'm asking people, please never use the word alien. It is the most disgusting word to use. Do not use the word alien, and do not listen to news media who are using that word. It's not alien, because alien immediately puts a negative connotation on extraterrestrials. These are extraterrestrials that are actually, of course, flying their highly advanced spacecraft, which are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years ahead of our technology, who are now appearing on a constant basis, not just to the Americans, to the Brits, to the Russians, to the Chinese, etc., etc. And it seems to me that what is about to happen, from what is happening, is that these extraterrestrials, who are part of our galaxy, are starting to come closer now, are starting to prepare for an appearance.
Wow.
And what we have to see is that the universe is our home. It's not a cliche. The universe is our home. Our planets in the solar system, and the solar system is part of, the various solar systems, 100 billion stars of our galaxy, which is just one galaxy amongst an infinite number of galaxies, which are all interconnected by an etheric body which science has already proved, that is our home in the true sense of the word. And that these extraterrestrials, who are, we in the Frim, we refer to them as our space brothers and sisters, which is really who they are. It seems Art has decided it's time to start making an appearance towards humanity. And once they make an appearance, when there's an actual direct contact, a bit like, in Steven Spielberg's film, Encounter of the Third Kind. Once that happens, it's the end of the old humanity. Everything will change completely and totally, and both in terms of consciousness, in terms of our understanding of the universe, in terms of technology, and so on and so on.
So, Errol, do you see quite an acceleration coming up in the next 6 months?
Yes, that's a vast acceleration. If a UFO, if a mothership from another star system or even planetary system had to at some stage make a landing, and extraterrestrials who are, as I said, hundreds if not thousands of years ahead of our evolution, make contact and start revealing the secrets to humanity, it would be the end of the old humanity, the end of the old technology, the end of aircraft as we know it, the end of the old energy as we know it, because these spacecraft can go anywhere throughout the universe, not using energy that as we understand energy. So it'll be a massive change, and because Cancer is a sign of home and family, in the deeper sense of the word, it could be, and Cancer is when energy manifests physically, not just etherically. We might be in for an ET.
Arrival.
Arrival and connection, which of course it might sound like a huge revelation, but we all know it's going to happen sometime. So it could happen sooner than we think. And once that happens, as it says in the New Testament, things will change in a twinkling of an eye.
Awesome. Errol, thank you. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. I think we're all can't wait for the next turning point already to hear your next update on everything. And I do post some of your things. So thank you also for keeping our group updated. And Errol, we're not going to take any more of your time. We really honor and appreciate you and Imogen coming in and sharing with our family. And we're going to move now to Sister Dipti and myself, and we're going to take this gorgeous info and massage it a bit more and integrate it and interrelate it to more and more things. So thank you, Errol.
Great, thank you, Jane. Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure, Errol. Bye.
Right, bye.
Wow. So, with that kind of astrological direction, if you like, what I specifically did want to talk about really was consciousness and life force, and Dipti coming in as well, sharing on that level too. And I think, the Cancer aspect with the home is really good. I must say, I find myself going to be at the Lifestyle Nursery tomorrow. I'm ordering like a ton of compost, and we've created this huge octagonal vegetable garden, and we're going to be re-enlivening that. And we've got our seedlings already to be planting in and refacing the whole veggie garden. And I must say, I do have the at-home itchy feelings. I don't know about you, Dipti. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I don't know if you're feeling any home body feelings.
And I think this home body feelings is very necessary because the world is going through such rapid change. You need an anchoring energy. And as I was listening to Errol, I was thinking how this anchoring energy is so vital. Because when I stay anchored to a very safe feeling, a very nurtured feeling, then I'm able to navigate myself through these times in a very, very powerful way rather than an abrasive way. Because people are going through change and it's inevitable. I'm just dealing with so much in my surroundings presently. And, one of the things that I've just constantly reaffirmed to myself is I'm nurtured and nourished in love. And it's been such a powerful vibration to actually work with. So when Errol was speaking about home, I was thinking that home is a place that I belong. Home is a place where I feel anchored.
Definitely.
Home is a place where I start things. And, that energy of start is also important. So, yes, many things.
The professor was talking yesterday, Dipti, about flowing freely with life. And being in the present moment is where we create our future. So everything that you've just said now really, really does sum that up, that anchored space. And, our home is, as you say as well, it's beyond just the walls of our home or our garden. It is in the bigger galaxy space. And I agree with you. The clients that are coming in here are coming in with a mission, whether they're conscious of it or not. And we are seeing miracles happening in front of us in 1 hour. I mean, even today, a gentleman came and he had complete paralysis on the one side, right through to the back, the occipital bone, all the way down the back, down the arm. The arm was limp. He couldn't speak properly. And, within an hour, without going into it all, well, the first thing I said to him, and I think this is a message for all of us as well, it's our home, it's our responsibility, it's our life, it's our future. So they get here, and because of the old wiring, they expect me to heal them. And the first thing I do at the outset is say, you are going to heal you. Are we clear on that? And they sit for a few minutes and they get themselves settled and straightened and everything. And then they actually get it. And then the mind goes, and the rationalization and the speaking. And I know, Dipti, you always talk about it, stop the traffic. And I use that virtually every time because the traffic becomes too busy for me. And I can't also concentrate on what I'm doing, and, with the device and everything. And then I say to them, shh, and they're quiet. And the next thing, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over and they're quiet. And they're able to heal and they actually fall asleep. And this guy woke up today, sat up. He said, my gosh, he said, I can swallow. And he started speaking. He said, I can speak. He said, I don't have pain anymore. He said, what happened to all that? His wife was sitting there and she said to me, Jane, I'm just witnessing a miracle. So what I'm saying is, and Errol was saying too, there's a massive acceleration of everything, a massive speeding up. As far as I'm concerned, we've got ETs living with us in any event. They're here, visible probably, and they always have been. And yes, let's just hope also that through osmosis we're gleaning their knowledge and their information and able to shift so quickly from, as Dipti, as you say, from our present point of stability.
Yeah, and I think what is happening, the resistance is coming due to fear. And that fear is just really blocking the help that is available. I was talking to somebody today, and she received her test results, and she was COVID positive, and the fear, and I was saying to her, just take a deep breath in, because you can heal yourself, and let's just take this step by step. Don't give power to words, give power to you. And I think this is so important that right now we've given so much power to certain words. And these words have created life. And we have to be so careful about that. And so there's so much that's available right now to support us. And as Errol was saying, that these energies are flowing. And I'm really finding in my morning meditations, they've been a very, very powerful time to feel that we are so supported. As much as things are happening so fast, and so dynamically in a so-called physical world space that we're looking at. There's so many other things that are happening, but it is fear, it's
Yeah.
worry, it's anxiety. These are the energies that are blocking these spaces, and all the physical ailments that you've just highlighted now, on a psychological level and an inner level, we can see the impact of fear, worry, doubt, negative
Yes.
energy fields that are creating this kind of space, and how we need to claim back our power. And I find for myself, on a daily basis, I have to remind myself, because you see so much around you, and that energy is very strong. And I just keep reminding myself over and over again that I am nurtured and nourished in love. It's such a powerful feeling of knowing that
Mm,
what I have access to is much more powerful
mm.
than being lived. I can choose to live or I can be lived. So when you create a home, you live in your home. You're not lived. When you stay somewhere else, you are lived because you have to live by other
True.
people's, you know.
True.
But when you're in your home, you start living. And so, also in your own journey, how much have I made the choice that I will live instead of being lived? And that is really a feeling of being at home with yourself,
At home with
regardless.
yourself, at home on the earth, at home in
Absolutely.
the galaxies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, being totally aware of it and claiming it as our home, in the broader space.
Mm.
And we spend so much time, as you say, externally. And also what the professor was saying, just to share last night, is, well, spend an hour a day, and I'm Dipti, you do this every day and more, but at least an hour a day of your internal house cleaning, home, in your inner home, your
Yeah.
inner sanctuary.
Yeah.
Um,
When you can just identify certain things and with love release it, you create such a natural decluttering. Just the other day, somebody said something, and I watched myself and I smiled. I said, Tipti, you're sensitive. And I was able to notice it. And it wasn't a big thing. It was nothing big. But I was able to notice my energy. And immediately, almost immediately, I was able to take care of it. So when you don't acknowledge certain things, then they have power over you. But soon as you have named it, soon as you have identified it,
yeah,
you can do something about it. And that kind of flow of decluttering, because that's part of your cleaning up space. And it's the decluttering of of noticing within yourself if something comes up. You know, don't put it in your heart, hold it. Hold it in front of you and say to yourself, well, Dipti, you know this doesn't serve you because life is a bigger picture than this. And almost immediately, it's like a bubble. You can blow it away. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just having the courage to face it, you know.
Absolutely.
Because you know what, it's going to pop up again if you don't. So yes, I think we really are in the space now of shifting and moving. And when you talk about individual and collective, our innate sense is to reorder and repattern and to work in an integrated, interrelated way in our body, our cells and our tissues and our organs, and within families, within communities, within the world and beyond. And this is the life force that also Errol was speaking about, and you are. And if our vibration is higher and we're in the higher soul astral layers, we are less bothered about also the trivialities, and we're able to shed things quickly and move quickly up our process of raised consciousness. So I think just to, piggyback really on what you're saying is that none of this is mistakes. It's like learn it, notice it, see it, and shift. And the next one, and the next one, because there's always going to be. Until I always say, until we're all walking on water, we're all in the same classroom, and we're all doing the same. You know?
Absolutely. And life is really willing to help you.
Yes.
You just have to be willing to accept it. I always say to people, don't fight with life. If you fight with life, life will fight back with you. Dance with life. And life will dance with you.
Yeah. It has the spin, the natural quantum spin. I always show people that shell of mine. All right. So everything is in the natural golden mean spiral spin, right? And it needs to be moving in the right direction. Positive, negative, left, right. And what Dipti's saying now, and just to hang something sort of literal on this thing, is that we to be in the flow, we want to be in this quantum spin. And then when you're in that quantum spin, you're pivoted perfectly to deal with whatever needs to happen and to work in the present to create your future. So this is what we're aiming for. When you eat foods with a life force, all right, like I'm going to show you some in a moment, just to remind some of you, and some of you are new as well, we accelerate the electron spin of the molecule and the atom. So those electrons are spinning around the proton and the neutron, and the more tightly bound they are, the faster they spin, and the higher the life force, the higher our spin is. And if you can imagine us as little batteries, electromagnetic batteries within the galaxies that are looking like this, and we are literally just spinning, suspended. And we can choose any moment to actually accelerate that spin, accelerate our life force, or decelerate. By what you think, by what you're doing, by who you're with, maybe even the color of clothing that you're wearing, hey, Dipti?
Yes, it certainly has an effect. I remember once somebody saying to me, well, personally, at the moment in my journey, I wear mostly white, or all the time white. But also the whole aspect within that space is color has a very powerful effect on one's state of consciousness as well. And so, again, there are certain colors within our journey which deepen subtlety, and there are certain part of our colors that allows groundedness. And both are important. You need to be grounded, and so you need that earthy energy, but together with that, you need subtle energy. And I find that, for me, there's been an interesting observation that at certain times of the day, certain clothes or certain colors also have a very, very deep effect. So like early in the morning, when you are deepening your subtlety, it's very, very important not to wear very bright clothes, because those clothes are not connecting with your energy field. Your energy needs a subtle energy, and color has an activation process. So like how even in the morning when we get up, we don't put like bright lights on, or hopefully not. And when we go to sleep, we sleep with that subtlety as well, because those things have a deep aspect on the energy field. But then during the day, it's important to be in like rich green. It's important to be in like real sand, because those kinds of energies, like the green and that brown of the sand, are very earthing energies. And they actually help you balance your vibrational field. So, yeah. So subtle energies at times, and that's why when I sometimes have to walk past shopping malls, and I aim not to make a judgment, but I look at certain colors of like nightwear, and I think, I wonder if you can sleep. Really wonder
Yeah,
if you
like a red bedroom.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Red is near the kitchen and the dining room, but not in your bedroom,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is important. And while you're speaking, I'm thinking to myself as well about the life force and the color of the foods and then the color of the foods in our 365 Healthy by Choice range. Because let me just blend the color and the
Yes.
life force together and then just see what you think. Because the microbiome reset, and Dipti, you know this one well, it's brown.
Yes.
Brown to look at. But look at under the microscope and it's a gazillion of lights.
Oh, wow.
From these little electrons of these. So sometimes it can be a bit deceptive. Even if they're in the ground under the soil, there's a massive amount of light. So this, I would imagine, would be pretty grounding on someone to consume more of a brown liquid, which is, it's got the enzymes and all the 120 live strains of beneficial bacteria and fungi and yeasts.
Because grounded energy also makes you digestive. You have to be grounded to have a digestive flow.
Yeah. And be in the parasympathetic nervous system, like that guy when he went to sleep. It was the best thing he could have done because he healed.
Yes.
And the parasympathetic does the digestion, the circulation, elimination, as you say, and it brings us off that stressful fight and flight. So here's another one, the zeolite. Let me show you the color of this. This is our paramagnetic. See, we bring in our toolkit, we've got fermented products, we've got magnetic products, we've got alchemical products, adaptogenic herbs, nutrient-dense foods, oils. But let's have a look at the colors because this is quite interesting. So here's the zeolite. Dipti, what do you say about that?
And that's why we take it at night. Most of the time, I know zeolite, it's been something that is useful to take at night before you go to sleep. And because it works at a deep level, but also helps your subtlety.
Yeah. Look, absolutely, because this is paramagnetic rock dust.
Yeah.
So it's charged itself. It magnetizes all the toxins out, as you say, and then as you sleep, as the liver's dumping them all, your gastrointestinal tract can bind them and take them out.
Yeah.
So this is very grounding, but at the same time also full of life force because it's, well, if you do read the research on a paramagnetic substance, it's connecting you with the cosmos. Wow. So, and also warding off radiation. So this is, I think, a great one. If we're wanting to, and as you said, this I put, by the way, I put this into the soil. I also put the universal probiotic into the soil as well. So my plants and my veggies and the food I'm going to eat are absorbing these awesome minerals from here because we don't absorb these. The object of consuming a zeolite, grounded zeolite, is that it will grab the toxins. It doesn't get absorbed. And you don't want it absorbed because it's not necessary. But the plant will shift it from an inorganic form into the organic form, the inorganic calcium into organic calcium.
Yeah.
So that I think is...
What's interesting is that... at night before I go to sleep, I always meditate. So that allows a centered energy. So when at night, whatever elimination is taking place, one is that our organs go through a certain elimination, but also we have a lot of stored energy from the day, which has been stored into our subconscious mind. So when you don't meditate at night or you're not journaling at night, all of that is getting very deeply stored in your subconscious. And that subconscious vibration is affecting your organs almost directly. And so that time before you go to sleep, just as it's important when you wake up, the time when you go to sleep, really, I remember one day I was told never to go to sleep with a heavy heart. It's the most kindest thing you can do to yourself. Never go to sleep with a heavy heart. Because when you go to sleep with a heavy heart, the kind of clogging energy that you're bringing into a vibrational field and an organ field is actually detrimental to your health. So it's very, very important. Whatever it takes at night, play your best music if you want to, or whatever you need to do. But don't.
Because then you will block your repatterning, you will block your rejuvenation at night.
Absolutely.
And so therefore it will drain your life force. Similarly, if you sleep with the Wi-Fi on or sleep with your phone next to your ear, you are draining yourself, and you're sitting in a field that has the wrong magnetic spin. So it's literally draining you. How come 6 out of 7 people are walking around with a flat adrenal gland? Battery flats. How come? Because we are in magnetic fields that are draining us.
Yes.
We're in jobs that are draining us. Maybe even our homes are draining us. And we, like Errol says, we should have a critical look at this. But here's our white liquid, Dipti. So the almost gold, which I know is one of your favorites. This is our alchemical salt to gold, right? And this is the white one. So you like this in the morning.
Yes. Because it also activates capacity as an energy field, And again, see, it's a white color. It's a subtle color. It's pure,
Gold and white in the morning.
Yeah, gold and white. It's that purity of the energy, but it's the subtlety, and it's a capacitator. This I find in my journey. The very first time I took it, I thought, I can feel many more things than just feeling nice. It opens your capacity. So I would meditate, and I would also have this, and I would really find that it enhances clarity. It enhances. So sometimes people think, well, it gives you physical energy, which it has helped me do. But together with that, it brings clarity. And I think that level of clarity that one needs early in the morning sets your frequency for your day. Definitely. If very often people, I always say that you have to start your day. Do not wait till your day meets you, because you've lost most of your day if you wait till your day to meet you. You start your frequency. And if you start your day at the frequency you choose, life will meet you there.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
You choose. That was your operative word.
Absolutely.
You have no choice.
And early in the morning, as much as it may be cold in certain places and all of that, but for our body type, and even within Ayurveda, which I have studied, a certain time in the morning to rise before certain times is actually so good for your energy rhythms. Very, very essential. As soon as you get up after those energy times, there's a different effect on your body.
And I mean, this planet that we live on it's teeming, it's abundant with life and nourishment and nutrients and, as you say, color. And we either choose to see it or we don't. But if we're blocked with toxins, it's so much more difficult. And if you're in that wrong spiral, it's so much more difficult. That's why we spend so much time, educating people, getting people to the point where they understand, electromagnetic spin and quantum and interrelation, integration, and interdependency amongst ourselves. And, so another one of our beautiful colors is the golden flaxseed oil. Now that has a blue flower. And so I suppose we could have a look at, the right time to be consuming an oil. Color-wise, it's gold, Dipti?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I find also, I take flaxseed oil in the morning. I don't know if it works, but I find like morning times and evening times, certain energies support each other. So that white, that gold, it's like the sunrise. Anything that supports sunrise and sunset are the colors, the hues of those are very connected to your energy fields. So, I always say to myself, your morning should be like a sunrise and your evening should be like a sunset. If you're not getting up like the sunrise, and you're getting up at 120 kilometers an hour, you're not going to go through your day well. And there are people who suddenly get up with a very noisy alarm clock that sounds like some siren,
Jeez, I could
and
never do that.
and they are taking their coffee and they're gone. I mean, what you're doing to your body, first thing, what you're doing to your state of mind. So, if you have the chance, one day, just sit and watch the sun rise, and the sun will tell you how to get up. Its beauty, its pace of rising, its energy field. Nature talks to us. So always rise like the sun. And you see, the time of dusk is a beautiful time. In many different religions, it's a time of prayer too. It's like they say the angels encircle the earth, at the time of dusk. But it's just really that feeling of the sun setting. You see the birds going back to their nests.
That's right. But first they sing in celebration. They sing in celebration in the morning and welcome the sun in, and they sing again in celebration at night as the sun sets, isn't it?
Yes. And so it's very interesting. I mean, I've noticed from your guidance as well, Jane, of certain things that you've said, like take it in the morning and take it at night. And I've had to understand it for myself according as an energy field. And I began to see why certain things happen in a certain time in a very specific way, because they help you to rejuvenate, and they help you at times to eliminate, and it helps you to restore, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, probably on a subconscious level, but anyway, and I mean, something like that stress defense brain fuel extreme performance that I put together. And while you're talking, I was thinking as well, this is the brain fuel one with all these ingredients and stuff. In the morning, I actually use a coconut oil, which is white.
Yeah.
And then as you say, more towards dusk, I'll definitely bring the flaxseed oil in then. It doesn't matter, but
for example, people eat salads, right? Lunchtime. They say, let's eat salads. Now look at the colors in your salad. It's usually green, it's orange, it's bright colors. They're earthy colors. Most of the time, if you're putting sprouts in your salad, whatever you're putting in, if you look at the kind of things that you eat in that time as well, they help you. So,
they do. And if you think of the gorgeous golds in the turmeric and the bee pollens and the beautiful purple in the acai berry, the greens in all the adaptogenic herbs and things, the cream in the baobab, the beautiful chocolates in the chocolate color. Imagine also what those things are doing to rebuild us, and then we think clearly and we live productively, and that has got to be one of our golden aims, because that is then we are maximizing ourselves as humans. And the foods that maximize us happen to be the colored ones. I've mentioned the pollen and so on. Imagine the blue-green algae. If you've ever taken some spirulina or blue-green algae and put it in a glass and mixed it, you will get the most beautiful cyan color coming through. And that alchemy is happening inside us when we take one of those capsules or put it in our smoothie or whatever the case is. So these are the things, I think, subtle things that we've highlighted today without directly intending to, but to be more on a subtle level conscious now, even more of what's behind the color of our food, and then we will reduce our stress and raise our energy levels.
So I find that it's color and music is very, very important. Music, sometimes you need deep, deep silence, because silence heals. And sometimes your body needs a certain vibrational rhythm. Like, for example, I've always felt a deep healing energy with the instrument of the flute. So when I've had to work with myself to create an ambience to support my journey, I've always used music. But again, there's music that deepens subtlety, and then there's music that deepens your base chakra. So there's certain music that brings you to to your base chakra. It's like a drumming kind of moment, right? And so certain time again, what I'm highlighting tonight is you need to know how to be anchored. We're talking about home, we're talking about family, we're talking about decluttering, we're talking about all these energies, and they need both. They need an anchored energy and they need a subtle flow. And both are very, very necessary. Sometimes know how to be silent and really observe. Like I know in my journey, there are certain times in my month I become silent. And it does deep, deep work on me. But then at other times, I love talking to people. It's an important part of my journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we need to balance. There's a kind of a balance that's needed. So it's color, it's music, but more and more powerfully to deepen that life force is really your state of consciousness. You know, again, like I always use this example. Somebody was telling me the other day, I'm preparing such a healthy smoothie. And I said, well done, but relax. You are so busy, you are so rushed whilst making your smoothie. What are you drinking? Are you just drinking health ingredients or are you drinking a rushed energy? We must never ever forget that how we use matter, that matter is holding a vibration. And that vibration is going to our body. Even when I'm taking all these products in the morning or whenever, I hold it in my hand and I give it a lot of love. And I say, my body is accepting it. It's very important to be conscious because we are the living energy. The soul, the life force that I am, is that active energy. And the more and more we become centered in that journey of who we are, amazing things can be available to us. I mean, I'm also surrounded by so many people that are having so many problems, whether it's their health, whether it's their finance, whether it's their relationships, so many things that are happening. And I just keep reminding them we cannot always fix the outside, but who you are on the inside is powerful. But you know, I totally agree with you, Jane, that in order to activate that which is powerful, we have to detox. We really have to detox so that we're giving space for that to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, part of Ayurveda, when I had studied that, is to fast once a week, a full day fast.
Yeah.
Again, that is a process of supporting that energy field of your body.
There you go. And the point you made about revering the food, and I think that maybe also on a much deeper level what Hippocrates meant when he said, "Let food be your medicine, let your medicine be your food." I really honestly don't believe he was talking about carrots and lettuces. I really do believe he was talking about these real superfoods, highly nutrient dense, and the products that we've spoken about that are holding this high life force. I really do believe that what he meant.
And sit whilst you're eating your food. Don't
Yes.
eat on the run. It's just not good for it's not
Not at
respecting that energy at all.
No, you see, you're in the sympathetic nervous system then again, and all the oxygen is in the limbs and ready to fight or flight, you see. Whereas when you're sitting and you're breathing nicely and you calm down, that's when the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and that's when your body will release by a computer the amount of hydrochloric acid necessary, the amount of enzymes necessary, the hormones for digestion and metabolism. The organs all work synergistically in an interrelated way, and that's not going to happen if you're rushing. And even, to relax for 30 minutes after you've eaten so that this whole process can happen, because food is actually really, really, really foreign to our body. And so, yeah, it's just really to be present about what you're doing, and knowing that in any split second you have a choice. Is this raising my life force, raising my electromagnetic spin, or is it working against that? Is it taking my energy? Is it winding my adrenals flat, winding my battery flat? And all the things you've said about starting your day properly, you winding yourself up properly, you setting the scene, and then you're choosing your food wisely and what you do, and then you're not going to get these terrible illnesses that you're speaking about. Most of it comes because there's been some unraveling somewhere along the line of your energy field.
And also to be aware that this is a very powerful time that we are in. So it's also a time of settlement. So whether we call it karmic settlement or settlement through cause effect, whatever it is. So certain things in our life will happen. They're inevitable. But
Yes.
Just face it with peace. And it's very, very important at that time to have an acceptance and a level of peace, and then be proactive. I mean, like I think in my own life that 2 years ago was my turning point. I've had a very, very powerful spiritual journey, but I wasn't grounded physically. I was enjoying something, but I never acknowledged my body. And I mean, working with you for the last 2 years of just becoming aware of certain things and respecting that flow on that level, and making peace that, okay, I landed up, it's the first time in my life, I landed up in a hospital, and it was so foreign to me. My body didn't know what to do with a place like that, because I've never taken like a panado in my life, But just that whole energy of certain things in your life will go through a settlement, but be at peace, have an acceptance, and with a lot of love, be proactive.
Yeah.
And
listen to our body, because our body speaks our mind, and I find that so often, and people are conscious of it, but they haven't really internalized it. They haven't really heard their inner voice properly.
Yeah. Or they're not ready for change. I mean, there's so many times I say to people, I can see what you're doing. There is a different way of dealing with this. But it's hard to change people's mindsets, because that kind of change, it's like somebody's used to getting their medicine, chronic medicine every 30 days. It's arriving in a box into their home.
Yeah.
And that's it,
And that's, living really in the illusion, living the life you thought you wanted to live, that really is the illusion. And I'm finding a lot of people are, the emotion that's surfacing is delusion. And I'm actually quite happy about that, because the way I see it is that delusion will result out of something which causes you to stand back and say, wow, that was a fake, false illusion that I was living in. And you can become delusional for a while, but then we need to stand up and then, as you say, in the present time, create our new future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So delusion's not a bad thing. It's almost a bottoming out, and then it's almost that platform from which you can and then launch again.
Yeah, it's creating the new life cycle. We talk about this lifeline,
so
that
gorgeous.
we go through that journey, and it will come to that place of decline, but it gives birth to the new lifeline. And if we just stay aware of that journey all the time, your lifeline is ascending, but it has to go through that process.
Yeah.
And as long as you're aware of that process, you can ride with it. Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Well, I think masses and masses of food for thought here, and I see our listeners are being incredibly quiet, so haven't really posted anything. I think you're all just listening to all the wonderful words from Errol and Dipti, and if there's anything, any burning information or any questions you want to ask, pop it on the chat. And I would like to move more towards the close with Dipti, and we're going to do a meditation.
Sure.
And taking into our space, her speaking about courage, and Errol speaking about the home, and relying and trusting on our internal compass to point us in that right direction, for the next month, 2 months, the next rest of the year. And to be very mindful of not getting caught in the fake illusion, should I put it that way, but try to be as real to yourself as possible. And as Dipti says as well, accept whatever's coming along as a turning point.
Yes, it's a turning point. Certainly a turning point.
Yeah. And forgiveness, it's not about mistakes.
Make peace with things,
Yeah, there you go. So Dipti, I'm going to hand over to you to finish, and
Thank you.
I'm going to say the thank yous to everybody as well. It's been an honor having all of you here. I don't want to talk after Dipti's finished because I just find it cuts the energy field. So thank you all. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks with our next turning point. And otherwise, on a Thursday, we do the Jane Live. And we've always got interesting case studies and people coming up, but it's very much in the now. So whatever I'm dealing with, we talk about and share. And it's good. And may our family grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And, let's be the change we want. Thank you all. And over to you, Dipti.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you very much. So I just invite you once again to sit comfortably, relaxed, in an upright position so that there's better concentration. And just take a deep breath in and out. Once again, breathe in deeply and out. Take this moment to go deep inside yourself and bring your energies to a centered point of awareness. Beyond the noise of the outside world, beyond the limitations of time and space, I'm able to step into a space of silence and stillness. I center myself into the very essence of my being. I am light. I am pure, radiant energy, seated as a life force in this body. Feel yourself to be the centered energy towards the center of the forehead, which is the seat of the soul. Just experience yourself to be light, pure, radiant energy. In this energy field that I am, I hold a reservoir of total peace. Peace is my natural and eternal nature. Peace is my inner power. I activate this energy of peace. My inner core of being is full of love, and love creates the energy of home. Love is that which anchors. Within my being, I hold love. I am love. All other energies that may make me feel any less have been acquired. They are not my innate state. I go deep within myself and touch this energy of love that I am. My very being is pure. Each one of us holds a deep, deep sense of innocence, purity, cleanliness, good feelings, well-wishing energy inside of us. Let all other limited and negative energies melt away and allow this purity within your being to shine. Awaken your true innocence of spirit. I am a joyful being. The real nature of each one of us is joy. Sorrow, pain, suffering has been acquired energies. They're not me. I'm able to deepen my energy and allow this abundant energy of joy to flow out through me into our world.